Looking at today's episode, there's really a common thread here. They're all from around the 1980s. Take a look. The women are all born in 86, 89, 89, that age group, all from the 1980s. And their backgrounds are all excellent master's degrees studied in the UK, right? Their parents are in business, or their master's graduates from top American universities. I noticed that all these women are so outstanding, yet they're still single despite such great conditions. What do you think is the reason for that?
Honestly, if I had another chance, I would definitely choose to get married in my 20s instead of waiting until my 30s to look for someone to marry. By the time you reach your 30s, you realize that there are hardly any members of the opposite sex around you that you can actually develop feelings for. Everyone's interests and hobbies have already changed. The things we've experienced and the topics we talk about are also very different. Some like watching movies, shopping, and buying clothes, while others like playing video games, so that's the difference between men and women. The older you get, the more you know what you really like, and the less willing you are to settle, which is exactly why it becomes harder and harder to find a partner.
So, do you still have any requirements regarding the man's income now?
I hope his annual income is around 300,000 yuan.
300,000? Why so high?
Because I think in the main city, 300,000 yuan a year is probably a more comfortable and stable standard of living.
Let me remind you, your monthly salary is only a little over 5,000, you know?
It's all because my income is low. I probably can't really help support the family, so I can only guarantee my own pocket money. That's why he needs to be the one to support the family, raise the kids, take care of the parents, pay off the car and house loans, and also handle the usual social obligations and family expenses. So I think a monthly income of 25,000 yuan is pretty reasonable.
It's not up to you to decide whether it's reasonable or not. How many people do you think have an annual salary of over 300,000 yuan? Can your father earn 300,000 yuan a year?
Brianna,
Didn't your father raise you?
you can't compare the past to now. The environment is different. When we were kids, as long as we had enough to eat, clothes, and could go to school, that was enough. But kids nowadays are different. They need to attend interest classes and all kinds of tutoring.
Then I'd like to ask, are your colleagues around you able to reach this level of income?
My supervisors all do. Our boss's annual income is over 1 million, and our company isn't even that big. It feels like there are quite a lot of small companies, small supervisors, and small bosses like ours in Chongqing.
So do your supervisors or your boss recruit you?
They're already married. I'm not the kind of person who doesn't know boundaries, so I have to go out and look elsewhere.
What do you think you have that could attract that kind of crowd?
I'm good looking. Everyone around me says I'm very pretty.
But you're already in your 30s, dear. Unless you only consider the man's income and don't take things like height, education, looks, or age into account at all, then maybe there's still a chance.
That's impossible. Of course I still want to find someone who's never been married. I'm not saying he has to be super handsome, but at least he should be average looking.
But the kind of man you're talking about, say, someone above average in looks, never married, making 300,000 a year, he's not likely to consider you.
Why not? Look, my qualifications aren't bad. My education, high, tall, fine. Plus, I'm the only daughter, no burdens.
What you mentioned isn't what they're looking for. The supply and demand just don't match. Let me give you an example. In the main city, an average guy working at a private company might only make 50 to 100,000 yuan a year. At a state-owned enterprise, it's about 120,000 yuan a year. At a central enterprise, a good one, you might get 150,000 yuan a year. Ordinary civil servants or public institution employees also make around 150,000 yuan a year. So have you ever thought about what kind of people in the main city actually earn 300,000 yuan a year?
Those are all our bosses, right? But I think they seem pretty ordinary too, just by looking at them.
You still call that ordinary? Whether they're in private companies, listed companies, or state-owned or central enterprises, at the very least, they're at a middle management level or above. Maybe some technical roles like R&D engineers or programmers can also reach that level. But whether they're in management or technical positions, people who earn 300,000 yuan a year all have one thing in common. They are definitely extremely busy. They're not like bosses who delegate tasks, nor entry-level employees who slack off, and certainly not well-connected rich kids with free time still making money, because their base income is usually much higher. So for people earning 300,000 yuan a year, who are they usually? They earn it by trading time and energy. They work overtime, travel for business, and attend social events just to make this income. So the woman he wants to settle down with is either generous and poised, able to have a little temper but not arrogant, or unreasonable, Definitely not someone who makes trouble for no reason. Ideally, she can also cook tasty meals, handle family relationships well, and keep things steady at home for him. As for looks, as long as he finds her attractive, that's enough. She doesn't need to be a universally recognized beauty. Alternatively, her family could give him a helping hand, because these two types of women can help ease his burdens. As for the woman herself, he might not require a high salary or advanced degrees, but at the very least, she needs to be reasonable and have a broad perspective.
Are you saying I'm not reasonable? I think I'm very reasonable.
Let me be even more clear. You are not their target group. They have worked so hard to earn this level of income, and they have their own life experiences and standards of judgment. They know exactly what kind of person they want to live with. They have their own criteria for what they want. Just because you think you're pretty or reasonable doesn't mean that's enough.
Why do you still think it's impossible for me? Like you said before, I can cook, I'm reasonable, I don't make trouble for no reason, and I'm good looking too. I think I meet all the criteria.
Criteria met? Has anyone with 300,000 annual salary pursued you?
No, of course not, because I'm a full-time housewife, so I haven't met anyone like that. Everyone around me praises my looks and says my conditions are good, that I should find someone better. Even when they introduce me to someone, even if they don't have those resources, they never say my standards are too high. They always tell me that if I keep holding out, I'll find someone.
If not, it means you're not worth that much on the market. Whether it's about choosing a partner or just being a person, never take other people's polite words too seriously. Goodbye.
A 39-year-old single woman in Changsha was diagnosed with menopause and completely broke down with regret. This woman, born in 1985, is a local only child from Changsha. She runs her own brick-and-mortar store with an annual income of about 250,000 yuan. She's also 1.6 meters tall, so in all aspects, her conditions are actually quite good. As a result, when she went for a checkup this month, she was found to have entered menopause, and the doctor clearly told her that she could no longer have children. Wow, when she heard this news, she really broke down in tears. She used to think she was outstanding in every way and still had options, but now she feels she's completely lost her eligibility in the dating market. What do you all think about this?
Those older single women who say they won't settle for the rest of their lives don't really understand what the rest of their lives actually means. I don't mean this sarcastically, it's just that most single women will find life very difficult after the age of 50, having to shoulder everything alone. The average life expectancy for Chinese women has already reached 83 years. Around the age of 50 is a turning point in life. At this time, you go through menopause, can no longer have children, and your parents may have passed away. From then on, you will truly be alonino parents. No husband and no children. Most likely, no one will pursue you anymore. If you have money and resources, you might be able to keep a young boyfriend for fun. But most single women don't have these conditions. Forget about keeping a young boyfriend. Being able to support yourself is already a big question. In the end, you might have 4 options. The first is to donate your only assets to a temple and become a nun. Whether you understand or like Buddhism doesn't really matter. Important thing is that someone will take care of you. The second option is to hand your assets over to a financial institution and set up a retirement trust, so that when you're old, you can move into a nursing home. But even in nursing homes, the elderly have their own pecking order. Those with children are quite proud in front of those without. If you don't have children, there's no one to stand up for you when you're mocked or bullied. The third option is to adopt a child and become a single mother, so that in the future, someone will take care of you. At the very least, there will be someone to see you off at the end of your life. The fourth option is to marry an older divorced man, but this is rarely done for inheritance reasons, and most older men are unwilling to officially register the marriage. So, even though you may encounter all kinds of problems and family disputes after getting married, in general, those who've been married will definitely fare better than so-called leftover women. From the age of 20 to 50, insisting on not settling may seem fine, but after 50, you will have to pay a very heavy price for it. Of course, I'm talking about the general situation, not individual cases, so don't nitpick. I think women shouldn't be too emotional, nor should they be misled by certain marketing accounts or their own tempers. Even more so, don't avoid the so-called mother-in-law and daughter-in-law issues to the point of saying you'd rather stay single for life than get married. You need to be clear about the consequences behind the choice of staying single. Don't wait until you're over 50, feeling lonely and calling out to the sky before you regret it. Most women have no idea about the price to be paid. Aside from marketing accounts, how many women in their 50s or 60s have you actually seen come out and say from their own experience that single life is truly happy? Even Vice Premier Wu Yi said that women should still get married. Marriage between men and women is not only the fruit of love, but also a necessity for survival. Without a husband, after the age of 40, you won't be able to spend freely. As your looks fade, you won't even be interested in looking in the mirror. Women must pay attention to 3 key moments. The first golden age is 28. Before 28 is the golden period. After 28, the quality of men around you will drop off a cliff. Second, the silver age is 33. Why 33? Because if you start dating and getting married at 33, you'll most likely have children at 35, and after 35, you're considered an older mother. Third is the bronze age, which is 50. After 50, your reproductive value drops to 0. Your looks are gone, and you begin a lonely second half of life. If there are still old men willing to marry you after 50, it's most likely because they want you to take care of them. Marriage is a competition for survival. If you lost the competition when you were young, you have to accept it. If you can find a husband with a decent personality, temper, and character, and get married, at least you haven't lost everything, you're still hanging in there. But if you're unwilling to accept defeat and keep gambling for a slim chance, the odds of losing are even higher, which is unfortunate. Most leftover women in big cities simply have no way to get married. If they want to get married, they can only go back to their hometowns or to smaller cities. If you really refuse to settle and are determined to remain a leftover woman to the end, then you should immediately do 2 things. First, start saving money right away. Being single for life is a very expensive thing after the age of 50. Don't expect any man to give you money. Second, it's best to have a close male friend, a so-called male bestie, but not the kind you sleep with. Don't sleep with him out of gratitude, or you won't be able to stay best friends anymore. It's not because the guy will leave after getting what he wants, but because your own mindset will change. You'll start to wonder why, if he's your close male friend, he can't divorce and marry you. And then, the relationship will fall apart. A male best friend is one of the most important sources of emotional support to help you get through menopause.